Welcome back to the channel. My name is Austin, this is Gone in 60, and this is my 2022 Subaru WRX. This is the premium trim, and in today's video, I want to cover, do I regret buying this car? And more importantly, if you guys get one, will you regret it as well? Let's jump into it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump right into it. So if you guys have been following my channel for some time, you guys know I buy and sell a lot of cars, and I've had a lot of V8s, I've had some fun turbocharged cars. This is my first experience, although the 3000 GT was all-wheel drive, but we're not remembering that car. We're not counting that car. I took a huge loss on that car. That car's in the past. But this truly is the first all-wheel drive car that I've brought to the channel that I've kept around that wasn't a pile of junk. RIP 3000 GT. So I want to cover for you guys, maybe if you're in the market shopping for one, maybe if you just recently bought one, maybe you're having buyer's remorse. I want to share, do I regret buying this car, all the things that I enjoy about it, as well as a couple small regrets that I have, and I'll be sharing those towards the end of the video, so make sure and stick around. But do I regret buying the WRX? Absolutely not. All-wheel drive, especially where I live in Utah, is awesome to have. I've driven V8 rear-wheel drive muscle cars in wintertime. I have not shied away from it. You guys can check out all my videos over the last several years. Not a problem, but being able to always use the power the WRX has in all-wheel drive has been something that's been extremely fun. With my muscle cars, with a lot of other cars, my Supra, other cars, those cars, I can't push to the limits. I will go to jail. And the all-wheel drive, it's just so fun to be able to use all the power all the time. I'm not losing traction. I'm not breaking the back end loose or sliding around a corner. Like, it just grips and goes. And I don't regret buying this car whatsoever. The all-wheel drive has been amazing. If you do buy this car and you're in the winter time, just know that it comes with summer tires and they're not meant for the winter. The other thing that I love about this car is the turbo noises. I've always had a lot of naturally aspirated cars, but I'm a sucker for turbo noises, for turbo cars, for superchargers, and I've absolutely loved it. I noticed a big difference when I removed the carbon air filter and I put in a K&N filter on this. Did a video on that to kind of show the differences in peak PSI, everything on that. And it was kind of a fun test, so make sure and check out that video. But what I love with this car is all-wheel drive. I get all the turbo noises, I get all the sounds. The other thing that I absolutely love about this car, and I know this one isn't overly popular in the Subaru community, but I love the mechanical feel of the car, especially the shifter. It's very notchy, it goes into gear. My GR86 does have shorter throws than the WRX. The WRX is quite a bit longer, but it's got a distinct click-click sound as you put it into gear, and it's intoxicating. I love it. I've enjoyed it. Just the mechanical aspect of this car. I don't have a digital screen. I don't have a screen that goes completely across my dash. I do know the infotainment screen is quite a bit bigger. However, you still get analog gauges and you get kind of the best of both worlds. And I love that Subaru, while some may say it's cheap, they keep to the same recipe, and it's a recipe that works. So I love just the mechanical nature of the car. It just all the sounds that you get with it. There's not a lot of tech that you're turning on, you're turning off. It's amazing. I love that there's a huge aftermarket support for this car. You can modify these cars to the moon and back. And I think that's why Subaru left the platform how it is, because even if they would have given all of you a car that you just thought was absolutely perfect, which, by the way, no Subaru that's come out, WRX, everybody's just like, oh, that's the best thing ever. Every time people have issues with them, but then they grow to love them and it becomes their favorite. I think Subaru knows that you guys are going to modify these things to the moon and back, and they're like, well, no matter what we do to the car, they're going to modify it anyways. But there's a huge aftermarket support. Pricing just is really good. There's just so many different options to customize your car, make it your own, make it unique, and that's what's amazing about it. I will say, and I've been very much a stickler on my channel if you guys have been following it for some time. So I have the premium trim, but the premium trim that came with the sunroof as well as the Harman Kardon package in it. And what I will say is this stereo, the Harman Kardon, is I've normally never opted for the more premium sound systems. It's never been that important to me. I've always added subwoofers. This Harman Kardon in this car rocks. It is amazing. End of story right there. It does such a great job. The bass sound system in this car isn't great, but there's some small modifications you can do to the doors with speakers that make it just so much more livable and more enjoyable from a music standpoint. But the Harman Kardon in here, if you guys are considering like the limited trim, not all premium trims come with it. You have to have that option in there for the sun moonroof option and the Harman Kardon, but get the Harman Kardon, totally worth it. Now, I want to get to maybe a couple regrets that I have, but in no way, shape, or form does this overshadow like buying this car, because I would do it all over again. Right now I would. So the only things that I would throw out there, if you've watched my channel, you know, I love induction noises as well. Cold air intakes, some call them hot air intakes, whatever it is. I ran it on my Rotary, my RX-8, in some of my other cars as well. But the thing that you have to really think about with Subaru is where it's a matte-based car, this car, you can't mess with too much on it. You just can't. It's not like a Volkswagen or a GTI that you can just go throw an aftermarket cold air intake on. It's going to adjust to it and it's going to be fine and it's going to work. This car, you just got to know that if you modify it and you go down that path or start doing it, you got to go all the way. You got to get it tuned. You got to be very, very cautious of it. These cars can be very finicky that way. And that's where I think Subaru gets a bad rep, is because people don't know what they're doing when they're modifying it. They throw on a blow-off valve, they throw on a cold air intake, and they don't do anything with the car. And then they have issues with the car. So that's one thing that I knew about, but I didn't think they were that sensitive. This is the first Subaru that I've ever bought. But that is one just small thing I would have looked into. But these cars being tuned, adding modifications, adding parts to it, they're holding the mods, and the parts are just working very well. You're getting very huge power out of this car. It is very detuned from the factory at 12 to 14 PSI. These cars can be turned up and they're handling it. The thing that you're going to struggle with is the transmission. Once you get over 400 torque, 450, that's where you're going to have issues, and that's where the STI obviously was better. The last thing, and my last point for you guys, I've shared a lot of videos around how well the Subaru WRX is selling, contrary to belief out there, but there is a lot of these being pumped out onto dealer lots. My only regret that I have, now there's reasons that I've done this. I've had issues where I've bought cars out of state, I've bought them sight unseen brand new, and they come back with dents and issues. Almost every single new car I have bought, except for my GR86, has had some sort of issue with it. Just looks-wise, appearance-wise, and I'm probably over-picky. But my biggest regret that I have is paying MSRP for this car. Do I think the car is worth the $36,000 and change? I do. However, there's so many cars out there that you should be getting $1, $2, $3, $4 grand off a sticker on these cars. Some instances, some people have gotten more. And the only reason I mention that is because of the market and how it's changing. You know, unless you're going to keep this car for 3 or 4 years, me as a content creator, it's where I kind of go through cars every 6 months, every year, maybe sometimes even less than that. That's the only thing that I regret, is because if you get it a sticker, or, you know, if some of you paid markups for these cars, I hope you didn't. But that's the only regret that I have, is I wish I would have shopped around. I wished I would have maybe got $3 grand off somewhere and paid $1 grand to ship it back. And that $2,000 savings makes up for my taxes on the car. But guys, this car is worth it. It is one of the last mechanical stand cars. I'll be doing a video on that, I promise. It's in really a class of its own when you consider price, all-wheel drive, manual transmission, availability, no dealer markups, not overly rare like GR Krill and other cars that are extremely hard to get. I do not regret buying this car, and you guys shouldn't either. I think this car will stand up. I think it's been amazing for me to drive. I've loved everything about it. If you guys have a VB WRX, please leave a comment below what you like about it. Do you regret buying your car? What tips would you give to others as they're looking at buying these? Please help everybody out on here. Please like, comment, subscribe, guys. We'll catch you on the next video.
Get down in the car, want to give it all, bust it open. hustle, we hustle, then what?